All right, the next person that is going to be speaking to us by video, I wish he was here because he is one of my mentors when I first started with the American Association for People with Disabilities. I created a program called the Military Sport Program for the United States Olympic and Paralympic Committee, which turned into Warrior Games and then Prince Harry's Invictus Games. So all that came, and from that I won an award called the Paul G. Hearn Emerging Leaders Award. And I was kind of quickly taken under the wing by our next presenter. And one of the things he asked me to do was to come to Washington, D.C., and he said, bring 2 forms of identification with you. And I said, okay, I'm not sure where this is going, but I flew to Washington, D.C. from Colorado Springs. When we landed, I met him over at the American Association for People with Disabilities office, and he walked me right down the street, down Pennsylvania Avenue, to the White House. And in we went to meet with Valerie Jarrett, who of course is President Obama's right hand. And you never know what you're going to get with this next presenter. So just hold on to your seats. He is one of the ones that did draft brought, as you heard earlier, the American with Disabilities Act into existence. So his propers are, he is retired U.S. Congressman from California, a former House of Representative, Major Whip, Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee Chairman, and the principal author of the Americans with Disabilities Act. Diagnosed with epilepsy when he was 22 years of age, Mr. Coelho has spent his entire adult life helping advance the lives of people with disabilities. While he calls this his ministry, those in the disability community call him their voice and champion. Mr. Coelho founded the Coelho Center for Disability Law, Policy, and Innovation at Loyola Marymount University. So please welcome and turn your attention to the screen for the Honorable Tony Coelho.
Hello, I'm former U.S. Congressman Tony Coelho. It gives me great pleasure to virtually join Senator Tom Harkin and all of you today at the World Expo 2021 in Dubai. I'm particularly pleased to be celebrating the International Day of Persons with Disabilities with you, and I must thank U.S. Pavilion Commissioner General Bob Clark for everything he and his team have done to make this possible. The UN first began promoting International Day of Persons with Disabilities in 1992. This was shortly after the United States, in 1990, passed the momentous Americans with Disabilities Act to protect the rights of individuals with disabilities. As the primary author of the ADA, I was honored to join with Senator Harkin and many others, leaders and activists, in bringing about such an important change and impacting so many in the United States. I want to echo the remarks of Senator Harkin as well as one of the true disability rights leaders. I join in his comments about what is needed today regarding meaningful employment. He is so right. I also concur with his other points regarding disability rights, not only in the United States, as we don't yet have it right, but also throughout the world. I've been working to not only strengthen the ADA in the U.S., but to help countries around the world implement similar legislation, promising equal rights to its own citizens. This is a priority of mine and others. It is my ministry, my passion, which is why today's event is so important to me, as it says to the world that this is a critical topic and that the United States has demonstrated leadership that others can benefit from. And particularly important to me is making it easier for individuals with a disability to gain meaningful employment and to participate in society in a meaningful way. A few years ago, I founded the Coelho Center for Disability Policy, Law, and Innovation at Loyola Marymount University in Los Angeles, California. At the Coelho Center, one of our missions is to assist others, be they universities, organizations, governments, and countries, in strengthening their approach to meaningful disability. Also, central to our mission is increasing the pipeline of law students with disabilities who go on to become lawyers and judges. The Coelho Center is home to the first of its kind Pipeline Fellowship Program that mentors and trains disabled college students interested in going into legal education. We are also leading the effort to make law schools more inviting and accessible to students with disabilities, working with organizations including the Law School Admissions Council, the American Bar Association Commission on Disability Rights, and over 60 different law schools across the U.S. We would like to expand the Law Fellowship Program to include international participants, students with disabilities who are interested in careers in law in the U.S. or in their home countries are welcome to apply. We also are working hard to increase disability representation in the entertainment industry, from writers to actors to the production teams, because movies and shows have been such a powerful vehicle to educate and familiarize the general public as to those of us with disabilities. Our hope is that as more individuals with a disability are more accurately portrayed in entertainment, the public recognition and appreciation for those of us with a disability will increase. We're also working with U.S. judges to educate and make sure that U.S. courtrooms are accessible for people with disabilities to participate in every way. That is a big problem in the United States, and I assume it is also in many of your countries. And finally, we're aggressively involved to make the internet more accessible, something that would have a worldwide impact. Currently, less than 2% of websites are truly accessible. That must change. So we want to work with you and build sustainable partnerships that advance disability rights and to continue breaking down the barriers that prevent equality and fair treatment. You're welcome to contact us directly, but I'll also be at the World Expo in March and look forward to meeting many of you then. Until then, keep up the good fight. Thank you for what you do to improve the lives of those of us with disabilities. We truly appreciate it.
Thank you, Tony Coelho. Wow, I think one of the things that I always take away when he talks, at least in this context that I've been talking about for a while now, is the media and how people with disabilities are portrayed in media. If around the world we are looking at individuals with disabilities as a negative, as the villain, that's how we show up in society. That's how we begin to see ourselves even as that. So we have to begin to shift the narrative. And I think that what Tony Coelho is doing, especially with the media and young folks that are now portraying people with disabilities as their full authentic self, begins to change the narrative for all of us.